recording.
I guess we're on the air.
We are.
Okay.
Is this thing?
I think it's on. I think it's on. All right. Well, hey, Mike from Florida, you with us tonight?
Yes, Jackie. Yes, my friend.
Oh,
Mike,
cool.
Mike, can you throw up like a picture?
I'm trying to figure out how to work. I don't know how to work this damn thing.
I can go get my 6-year-old daughter. She can.
Sure, bring her on.
She was on Zoom the whole year, man.
Well, walk me through it. How do you
So click on stop video on the little caret next to stop video, and then you go to like virtual backgrounds, and you can literally pick any JPEG or any image off your computer.
Choose video. Okay, I see. Hold on.
Or you could just do a background or whatever.
Or you could put your camera on.
There you go.
Oh, we'll see. Hold on here.
You don't have to worry about the Chinese. They're all drowning right now.
They've already got your picture, man. Like they already know who you are.
I'm not worried about that. Let's see.
It makes one of us.
At least it says his name on it. At least he.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that's all they need.
All right. Well, Mike's a disembodied voice. He's like Jarvis.
He's the Vision.
Yeah, the Vision. Oh, by the way, I finally watched that WandaVision show.
It's great.
Was it good?
I loved it.
It was okay.
So it wasn't good.
It was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't good, probably.
No. There's clever. No, there's clever things about it. Like it goes through different decades and all that. It's pretty. There's a lot of good stuff about it.
Is it like 10 episodes?
No,
Yeah.
it's more like I think it's like 8.
Oh,
It's a lot.
Yeah.
you know what I finished watching tonight was Empire Strikes Back with my daughter, which was
Yeah?
fantastic. It took us 3 nights to get through it.
Oh. Why?
She freaked out when Luke lost his hand, man. It was like catastrophic.
You can't pause it at that point.
And then
No.
and Mike looked over and goes, and that's his father.
No, he said it online. And I broke it into over 3 nights. It was the Battle of Hoth, and then the Dagobah, and then Cloud City. It's like perfect 3 little chapters.
It's a 3-act
But
play.
he told her he showed it to her as a cautionary tale about pissing off your father.
A good one.
She loves Chewbacca. That's her favorite character.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't like Chewbacca?
Chewbacca's the best. They could have a Chewbacca movie. I'd probably watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
I would definitely. So what's our show about this week, Jackie?
Well, I don't know. We kind of covered like global government systems a couple of weeks ago, and we covered like the pitfalls of capitalism. So I thought we should lighten the mood a little bit this week, and talk about one of America's favorite pastimes, our dark heroes of America, like the complete sick MFers that do things that fascinate us. And so I
We
thought,
can do a whole hour on Tom.
yeah, that's it. We're gonna do an hour on Tom. What makes him tick? Yeah, no, Zeus, you got the background up right now. I thought we would sort of like the way we did with comedians, like where we counted down.
I can
we
do
counted down. We counted down some of our favorite comedians, and so I thought we would kind of go through maybe some of the most notorious American serial killers. Because
They have to be American?
No.
No. But we seem to really have a grasp on how to get this done.
It's another thing where America's number one.
Yeah, I would say. But you know what? That's up for debate. We got to go through the podcast here, and
Yeah, well, actually, one of mine.
Mike might have something up his sleeve. So I figured we would just go around. I think what I had told you guys was just kind of jot down the first 3 or 4 that pop into your head when you think of the term, because I think there's going to be a lot of overlap here, but that's okay because they are probably up there in our heads for a reason. And then maybe some other ones that you come to mind, like from growing up, or just ones you've heard about, or ones maybe you discovered if you did a little homework. So I don't know, Zeus, you want to start us off and just kind of go with one?
You want to just give me you want me to give you my 5 or?
No, just pick one and we'll discuss.
Well, one of the more interesting ones that, well, I'd say the one that got me interested in him, and this is going to be on everybody's list, is Dahmer.
Okay.
He's not the most notorious one for me. He was actually, my knowledge of him is that he was odd in the fact that he actually showed remorse at the end of it all. Like, it didn't appear to be, a put on. He felt bad for what he did, which is something you don't normally hear. Does everybody know like his history?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not all
when
of
he,
it. Not really.
Well, grew up. He was the epitome of the, starts fires, kill small animals, but not so much the fires. But he had a pretty long history of killing animals before he got.
yeah, in his backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think his parents were kind of the worst thing about it. Is I think dad left, and mom was just horrific. She was a little cuckoo herself. But dad caught him like killing animals. He had him in like formaldehyde or something like that, back in this shed back in the woods. Yeah, he was just interesting on so many levels because he was successful for a very long time, and yeah, of course we all know he was gay, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't he say he supposedly met up with a teenager his age, around 16, 17, went to the father's house, and then he killed him in the backwoods there and chopped him up?
I think I think he did say that, but I want to say that it turned out to be just nonsense. He had a lot of fantasies about guys when he was young, like that would. You know what? Maybe he did. Now I'm thinking about it because I think there was a story about a kid that was jogging. But yeah, he was in the military. He did a lot of things before he ever even got close to getting caught.
Was it like a means to an end for him, or was he into the killing? Like, did he kill because it was satisfying this other thing, or that he just wanted to?
It was a satisfying the urge to kill kind of thing.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that because supposedly he was very repressed sexually,
Yeah.
and he was legitimately sexually interested in these boys and these men, mostly like young men. I think there were a couple underage, and I know that at one point he was trying to dope them up.
Oh, he did some really
He
weird.
was like, wasn't he a cannibal
Like,
too?
how
Yeah.
did he lived in a black neighborhood and like a black with all black views, the only white guy.
Yeah,
And
somewhere
he had
Milwaukee.
55-gallon drums in his apartment. How did no one see him bring not only 55-gallon drums, but then fill it with that acid or the
Yeah,
he was putting he was chopping up people in his apartment and dissolving them in these drums, which
But also-
had to create a smell.
well, also Mike, like there was the way they caught him, he had fucked this one guy up, young guy, and he left him in a sort of like zombified state.
Yeah, he would drill
And
their
he
he
would
would,
be-
Yeah,
he would drill
drill a
their
hole in the
injected-
head. Yeah.
He injected shit into the brain, and the guy must have woken up, and he was stumbling around out in the street, like must have been high as fuck. And Dahmer gathered the guy, like he wanted these guys to be like sexual partners.
Yeah, they were very. It was a very totemic thing. Like he kept them. He wanted them to live in that state. That doped state, whatever you want to call it. For as long as he could. That was like his totemic phase. Which, if you're not familiar, the totemic phase is when they like maybe keep an ear or
Yeah.
a license, a driver's
Kept a lot.
license, so that they can relive the situation.
Wasn't that kid when he first ran out of the apartment? Didn't the police they like took him back and gave him back to Dahmer because they thought it was just a lover's
Yes.
quarrel at
I've
first?
heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness there.
Can you believe that?
Yeah. Well, that's what they
No,
said.
that happened. That's how
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
that's how they caught him.
Yeah.
But-
What
but
else
this-
was there? Did we all know how he died?
Oh yes.
Yeah, someone shoved like
No,
made a
that's not.
spear.
No, that's not true. That's why I asked.
How did he die?
Everybody says that he got a broomstick shoved in his butt, but actually,
No,
the guy just beat him over the head with a dumbbell.
No, I remember.
Oh, a dumbbell.
Yeah.
No. He killed his first victim with a dumbbell.
No,
hold
I
on.
think he was killed in the bathroom. He
Yeah,
was
he got-
like cleaning the
By
bathroom. stall.
Colonel Mustard with the wrench.
Dahmer is
No,
twice
he
in
got-
prison. Hold on.
No, I thought
He
they
got-
sharpened the broomstick like a spear, and there was a hole in the door.
No,
And
that
he
was
shoved it in there.
that was Vito on The
No.
Sopranos.
Can we
No.
Google this or something?
He was killed in the bathroom.
I'm reading it right now. No, it was
He
severe
got
head
beat.
trauma.
He got
He was
beaten.
killed in jail. Yeah.
Yeah, he got beaten to death by another inmate. Like we agree
Yeah.
on that.
Beaten with a broomstick handle on November
Right.
November 28th, 1994. Dahmer
Wow.
died of severe head trauma while on his way to the hospital in an ambulance.
94. I thought it was well after that. Wow.
No, he was
94.
I think his killing spree was like the 80s. That's why we all kind of know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he was our serial killer.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
He's a millennial serial.
I hate you, Jeffrey
Oh, no,
Dahmer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's
Remember the
a-
black
you
chick in
imagine-
court? I hate you,
Remember that.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
That was back when like they didn't report everything. Like now it would be like people's eyeballs would be shooting out of their heads.
Oh,
Like
if you're a serial killer nowadays and you get caught, like you're
You
on
live.
you're on everywhere.
You're everywhere, dude. You're like a celebrity.
Yeah.
He did kill his first victim with a dumbbell.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good call. Whoever said that.
yeah, that was me.
Let's see here.
All
Did
right,
you ever
well,
see that interview with Dahmer and his dad? I think they kind of sat down. I don't know if they were
And
sat
at
down
one point, they
together.
were smirking and laughing, which is kind of disturbing.
yeah, I never saw that.
Go you look it up.
There
It was
is that handsome devil.
What's going on here?
Oh, he was in
uh,
Milwaukee.
pictures.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
At one point, he lived with his grandmother,
Yes.
and he was killing people in her house. With I think, if I remember this correctly, and she kept complaining about the smell. The smell. She finally had to kick him out.
He murdered from 1978 to 1991.
Look at you, Zeus, with the tech.
Look, the thing is, when after they find these people, and the neighbors are always like, he was such a nice boy, and like no one noticed anything. This is a phenomenon. Like, look at the collapse in Miami. The days leading up to that, people were like, my door wouldn't open. I kept hearing the building kept shaking like every night for the last 3 nights. Like the pool just drained of water by like no one expects the building to collapse. No one expects that their next door neighbor is a serial killer.
Oh,
Like
wow.
you'll
In
put up
hindsight,
with,
yeah.
You know, let me. I
you'll
like
put
to.
up with a lot of stuff before you get to like, oh, they're a serial killer.
Yeah, I
think-
mean, they should have
I
known
think
when they
that's
saw
the
him
whole thing.
masturbating over that dead squirrel.
These guys, I don't know. I don't know. You froze up, Zeus. I couldn't even hear that.
Oh, never mind.
Something about masturbating
Alright.
over a dead squirrel.
Something about squirrel masturbating.
Masturbating.
Oh, that happens all the time, though. I think we all take that for granted.
Yeah.
He was
I
just
don't wanna do
explaining
that
how he
one.
gets turned on by squirrels. So we can move on now.
Called a bucket list.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
I
got
don't know,
it.
Mike,
I got-
you
I
Jackie,
probably-
just-
call us out.
So I don't have like a lot of knowledge in this. I mean, I know about some of the big names. So I just looked for some that I thought were interesting. And this guy,
Yeah.
he's Indian. He's from India. Active in 06 and 07. Didn't really get many people, but his nickname was the Beer Man. And I don't know what that means, and I couldn't find out. So I'm going to do some more research, and I'll try and find out later in the episode. But I just thought the Beer Man, and he's from India.
Anyone read Richard Kuklinski and the Iceman Cometh?
The
No.
book?
Yeah, the book. They made a movie about him. He supposedly killed hundreds of people.
Yeah, he's most
Was a hit-
prolific
Was a
hitman.
hitman for the DeMeo crew out of
Man, it's been a while. Wasn't that? I think I did read that, but that's been years.
Yeah, he was vicious. They don't call him a serial killer though. I don't know.
He was a hired killer.
he was a hired hitman, but
he
he
did
also
some crazy
killed for
shit.
fun. Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
take a tube and put it in, he'd starve rats and he'd take a tube and put the rats in the tube and tape it to their stomach.
Yeah.
And
that's like American Psycho, man.
yeah.
Well, supposedly he would take his victims to a cave somewhere in Pennsylvania where he had a film set up, and he would tie them up and leave, which I don't know, and have the camera running to record the rats, having their way with the victim.
Yeah, he was vicious. He was. I mean, technically, we probably could consider him a serial killer.
Oh yeah, no, he's one of the most prolific American killers. Plus, he lived long enough to talk matter of factly about it. Like he was very.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Yeah,
Richard Kuklinski. One of the most fascinating parts in the book for me was one of the Mr. Softy guys that went around was also a killer, and if he would see a parent, like a father with a child that he didn't like, he would sprinkle cyanide, what do you call it, cyanide on the ice cream, which would mimic a heart attack. So the guy would just start licking the ice cream, then boom.
He went through different phases of how he killed people. Like
Yeah.
I did want to go back and just mention one other thing that I thought was funny about Dahmer's. Did you guys know that Dahmer worked for like a chocolate factory?
No.
Yeah, it was called Ambrosia Chocolate Company.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And
Wow.
he but they said he was a great worker. I think he was like a manager. That's hilarious.
That's
Anyway.
hilarious.
Pretty similar psychological profile
What's that?
between middle management and serial killers.
Yeah, I see.
He's like
that
Willy
one.
Wonka.
Well, I mean,
Dahmer and the chocolate
the one who started it all in this country was Ed Gein, who.
Well, what do
Oh
you?
no, it goes back further than that.
No, but Mike, you're jumping Ed Gein, go for it. Mike's right though. He's considered like the first American serial killer because he's the first one.
And the inspiration for Leatherface, he was
Wait,
Yeah.
Ed Gein was digging up. Ed Gein was digging up dead women and
he
making
would dig up
furniture out of
bodies.
people.
But
you
did
know.
he kill a lot of them?
Yeah, they say
No.
he killed some of them.
No, he didn't actually. I don't think he killed a lot.
No,
like
Ed
3
Gein-
or 4.
I think Ed Gein only killed 2. He killed the
Yeah.
bar. He
I
killed
don't think of him as a serial killer. I mean, he was
Oh, he-
messed up with a
If
lot
you-
of things, but
If you kill more than one person, you're considered a serial
Now,
killer.
if you kill 3 or more with the same modus operandi, is the
Do they have to be people you don't know? Isn't that part of it too?
No,
Isn't there like a dispassionate part of it?
no,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think
No, but Gein inspired more like in Hollywood and the arts
Psycho.
because he
So-
he dug up his mother, so you have Psycho.
Ugh.
He dug up other people's body parts and made furniture and shit out of them. He had like all those body parts in his house. Like Dahmer did that too. Dahmer kept a lot of trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gein was also. I mean, they say that he was.
It was
Most
too
likely.
local women.
I think if they were to check him today, they'd find out that he was on the spectrum,
well,
like the autistic spectrum. He was the inspiration for Buffalo Bill and Psycho.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, America, I mean, you got to realize, like, he got caught. It was like the beginning of, it was like the television period. So
Bring up a picture,
I'm
Zeus.
doing it right now.
Didn't he got caught grave robbing, and that's how they found out.
yeah.
Oh, he died in '84.
Well, he died in a loony bin.
Yeah, he was like one of the first. I mean, to Mike's credit, I think really what it was is not so much that he was the first big one. He was the first one that they kept around and studied, and
Well, also
that's
like,
more what I got out of it.
well, yeah, but also, like I said, though, we've talked on this podcast a lot about broadcast media and the world we live in today. Like Mike was just talking about, if a serial killer got caught now. And Ed Gein was a local Wisconsin story, but it caught national fervor. Like Robert Bloch wrote Psycho about it because he heard about it, and he heard about it because it was a big story. Like we didn't have a local news story, local guy kills two women, and then the police investigate the house and they find a house of horrors. That caught like wildfire. I mean, all over the country, and it inspired a lot of art and maybe a lot of killers too. I mean,
Oh yeah, there's definitely, if normal sane people have a fascination, imagine that being on steroids with
yeah,
somebody that's not all there.
So,
yeah.
real quick, Zeus, since I know, I mean, and Jack, and I mean, and Tom, you guys know more about this than me. Is there like a term for the differences between people that do this who kill people and they aren't careful? Like there's just bodies and
Yeah.
blood everywhere, and then the guys that do it who are like very meticulous about not getting caught. Like, is that? Are there
Yeah,
two
it's very
types?
dumbed down. It's disorganized and organized. Disorganized are the ones that do like you do, leave DNA behind and all that. It doesn't necessarily mean that they do stuff to get caught.
But they're not careful.
Yes, exactly.
More lucky than careful.
And another fascinating thing, like when you get into some of these, they'll start talking about like the way they kill them, what it means. Like if they gouge out their eyes, it's because they didn't want them to see them because they felt guilty. Um, there's what I forget what they call them, but certain killers will like attack from behind, like because they're too weak. They're not strong enough. Like they're very in a weird way, they're very dedicated to their craft per se. But yeah, there's the disorganized ones are the creepy ones, but like for instance, Ramirez was organized. My next guy that I'm going to talk about was organized too, but
Wait, which one? Which one? Elaborate. Which one was Ramirez?
the Night
The
Stalker.
Night Stalker.
Okay.
And actually, he was the second Night Stalker. The first Night Stalker, they started calling a guy Golden State Killer. This guy that they found recently through the DNA of like his daughter.
Yeah.
It was through Ancestry.com, I believe.
Oh shit.
Yeah, right. That's pretty cool.
And wasn't that the one that Patton Oswalt's wife did the book on?
I believe so. Yeah. So he
Before she died?
the Golden State Killer, he went through several different things. Like first he did petty theft and he'd kill some people. He killed like a lot. I want to say like 60 or better. But they called him the Night Stalker at first, and then when they found out that he had an MO all across the Golden State, there you go. So we were talking about Gain, but yeah. I think he is considered a serial killer. I think it was 3.
I think it was 2.
It was only 2.
I think it was, yeah, but they were both girls there were women that he knew. One was a bar owner and one was a hardware store owner or worker.
Gotcha.
And then also the way he did it got him notoriety because he gutted them like hunting game, like deer.
Yeah, right. He hung him upside down in the the shack.
Yeah.
They said it was a horror scene in this shack. It was just like disgust, like just.
Well, but also just to go back to Dahmer real quick, like Dahmer killed about 17 boys to men, basically. Didn't he live in an apartment or did he?
Yeah.
How the fuck did he?
But he killed some in his grandmother's house, and she started complaining about the smell. So
right.
So he moved out.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
like
They found a head in his refrigerator and more stuff on the stove. Like that's gotta be,
cooking in the stove.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
gotta be. I can't imagine.
There was a guy in England that was a lot like him called the Yorkshire Ripper. He did a
Oh,
lot of that kind of stuff too.
yeah.
He was interesting because he was gay as well, and he would bring guys back to his house for drugs. He tended to go with people that were not maybe not recluses, but
Drifters, homeless, kind of.
drifters, yeah, stuff like that. And he would he'd get them to listen to his headset. He had a really nice what hi-fi back then. I can't even say hi-fi anymore. What do you think Wi-Fi? But he would get them to listen to music, and he'd come over and club them on the back of the head while they were. Yeah,
Oh my God.
he was brutal. Who's next? Jack, you got one? Tom?
But no, I don't think Michael finished. He was
Oh.
starting with somebody.
So Michael?
Oh, me?
Mike?
No,
I said Rick.
Maryland Mike.
Maryland
Who-
Mike.
Yeah,
Oh,
who was the
me?
guy? Yeah,
Oh, well, I was talking about the India beer man.
right.
He-
Were you
was
done?
it.
Or?
Yeah,
That was
I
it?
didn't. I couldn't find. I'm gotta
Oh.
research some more. I just like the name and the fact that
Yeah, the
he's
beer
from
man is
India.
good.
There's
That's
only
all.
2 in India. The other guy was Stone Man. I don't know what his story is, but
All right,
Was there a spoon man?
Stone
Stone
Man.
Spoon man.
Stone Man and Beer Man.
I gotta tell you, there's a YouTube channel out there. I can throw up a link on our thing. Why not? But it's called like serial killer documentaries.
Nice.
But it's not any of the ones that you know. It's like these guys like the beer man. Like it's guys I've never fucking heard of before. And they give them all nicknames. And I'm like, where do you find these people? And they're usually like really modern. Like these guys are coming out of the woodwork, and I guess they're just getting caught. Maybe we're so desensitized to just horrible shit going on. Like a serial killer story only lasts about a day because then a building collapses and
It's,
children die, and
it's not.
awful.
It's not enough. Yeah, it's not enough.
Not enough. It's just not. It's not.
More entertainment.
Yeah, entertain. Are you not entertained? Yeah, but it's a pretty cool channel if you're a sick fuck, it's good stuff.
Hey, I'm a sick fuck.
I know you are. Look at your background picture.
I
Yeah.
do have. I'm gonna throw just
Wait.
Yeah.
I can attest to the fact that as long as I've known Zeus, at one point in our early days going to Taco Bell, working at the Smith Company, you know this, Zeus, or Boston Market, Boston Chicken. He was talking about the encyclopedia of serial killers, like way fucking back
They'll
then.
have a copy.
Yeah, I had one.
Fascinating, man.
I had one a long time ago. I got rid of it. I was like, what am I doing? How am I gonna get through all these? It was like this fucking big.
I read it twice.
And
Yeah.
I think as long as I've known Zeus, he's always had that wallpaper in his bedroom.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's actually it's up in the kids' room.
Oh.
Mike, I sent you a link to your guy.
Yeah,
It's like-
I'm looking here. 06 to 07. Oh, the nickname was gained due to beer bottles left beside each body, which was the only link between the deaths.
Oh, he's a sloppy killer.
That's
he-
amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he wasn't a secretor. He didn't leave behind bodily fluids. He left
Ew.
behind.
Here he is, right here.
Well,
left
if he
behind,
drank
like,
the
bricks-
beers,
bricks
then it
of
would have
beer.
his saliva on it,
Ugh.
Oh Jesus!
right?
Wow. He was charged. They tried to get him on
Bad.
additional murders,
Does he
but
only have one eye, or is that
they weren't able to convict them.
See if there's any other.
he's a one-eyed suit?
Oh hello, what's going on there?
There he is. The
He
beer
looks
man.
like Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
I mean, Osama bin Laden.
But here's the thing that's tragic to me. Like, again, in all
Osama bin
seriousness,
Laden.
we're talking about people dying, and it's like, you get murdered by the beer man, like
All right.
Yeah, it becomes a prestige thing. Like you want to be killed by the
because he leaves a beer bottle by you. I mean, that's horrible, man. That's horrible.
When Caitlyn Jenner had that car crash, didn't she kill somebody? Or he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Caitlyn, victim one.
Dude, okay, I don't know if I agree
Fuck
with
her
this
up,
def-
Buckaroo. You know.
I don't know if I agree with that definition. So is someone who is like one of these mass shooting, or are they a serial killer?
They're spree
No.
killers.
No.
But it's more than 3 people and it's by the same method.
No.
No, but they're spree killers.
spree killer.
Yeah, so it has to happen over a
Okay.
period of time.
Yeah.
So
By the way-
gangbangers aren't considered serial killers, I guess.
But according to the DOJ and the CDC or whatever, I think it's the DOJ and the FBI, gangbangers are put into the total of quote unquote mass shooting.
Yeah.
Right, but so Sammy the Bull Gravano, who admittedly killed 17 or 19 people.
He
Yeah.
did it
He's
for
not
money,
as-
right?
Well, I mean, he's not a serial killer or orders, right?
Well, did he enjoy it?
I mean,
I
I
don't
don't think that matters. I mean,
I don't
Is
know.
it
No,
the job?
it
I mean,
does.
is it if it's your job? I don't know if that's the same.
I mean, if you're the
No.
executioner in the prison, you're not a serial killer.
But
If you're
yeah.
enjoying it and you're getting pleasure out of it and you're going back
Yeah.
to it,
You know
and
what?
even though they're paying you,
I think it has to do with some kind of like a sexual gratification. It's got to do with why they do what they do.
I don't know if it has to be sex, but
It has to be pathological.
A
Yeah,
person.
that-
Here's
that's the
the
word.
usually it is. But
Here's the
yeah,
definition. A person who commits a series of murders, often with no apparent motive, and typically following a characteristic, predictable behavioral pattern. So, yeah. So, no motive. Like, it wasn't because their dog shit on your lawn. It was,
yeah, let me give you mine, because mine was going to take us into this actual conversation, because mine meets that criteria, but there's one more piece to the definition that you left out. So the one I wanted to talk about was the DC snipers.
Boom.
Now,
I was gonna ask you guys about that one when it was my turn. Thank you, Tom.
oh yeah, and where is this guy now? Where are
No, it was
well,
two of them.
one is executed.
yeah, Muhammad's dead.
The
And
other
Malvo's-
one is up
Malvo's-
for parole possibly next year,
Virginia.
2022.
his son? Wasn't it his son or something?
No,
And there were two.
year-old.
Weren't they two black guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Oh, there's
Hang on.
plenty of.
Let me
Yeah,
tell you about.
Hey guys, let Tom talk. It's his guy.
Well, my
Go
two
ahead.
guys. So anyway, the reason I wanted to bring this up, because it's going to kind of define that, what is the serial killer. So they're normally considered as spree killers, but like Zeus was saying, so they killed multiple people with the same MO, using a rifle, the same method. And what was the other thing you said, Zeus?
Oh, this is where it separates, I think. It is because
No, the other thing you already said,
the
the same MO and
no apparent motive.
no apparent
They
motive.
did they kind of did give off the impression that they had a motive. Their motive was to frame. Oh no!
I
He
mean,
had killed
serial
somebody in
killers is always a
Washington.
motive, I guess.
He
They
had
killed
killed somebody in
ex-wife.
Washington, and they wanted it to look like it was somebody from the East Coast or
Okay,
something.
anyway, but the key, the one distinction that they make between a spree killer and a serial killer is the cooling off period.
That's
So
right.
if you kill and then there's a cooling off period, then you kill again, then you're a serial killer. Now, if you just kill a bunch of people, now this happened over the course of a few months.
It was just
They weren't like all at this. So if you kill like the Columbine guys, that was a mass shooting, because you just kill everybody all on the same day.
Yeah.
But a spree, you're kind of doing it like one at a time, a little bit spread out, but not too big of a cooling off period. But that's where the experts kind of debate. They don't really agree on what is a cooling off period. So some guys like the Andrew Kukanen, the
Cunanan.
guy that killed the Versace heiress.
No, he killed Versace.
Oh, Versace himself?
Cunanan,
Okay.
yeah. He was a
Okay.
serial killer.
Yeah, see, they call him a serial killer, but he killed like 5 people over the course of like 2 months or 5 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
So why is he a serial killer? And
Because
the
that was a
DC
cooling off
snipers
period.
are spree killers. But anyway,
You know,
so I got a connection with Dana and the DC snipers, and But let me first tell you. So I remember these guys came up. So this was in like 1992. The first I heard about them, I don't know if you guys were around this area. One of my coworkers came to me and she was complaining about, she thought they were shooting Hispanic people. So she's like, "Oh my God, they're shooting Hispanics. They're shooting Hispanics, and I have dark hair. They're gonna think I'm Hispanic." So she was freaking out, and this was because they had just shot somebody at like a bus stop. That one might have been like a Hispanic
Remember
woman.
this? Yeah.
So at the beginning, people really didn't know what was going on. And then they thought, okay, then there was some connection to a white van. They're looking for this white van all over the place. But that didn't turn out. It ended up being like a red Chevy Caprice that they were using. But anyway, so the connection to me though, with this, I have a personal connection. So I was there the night.
He sold him the guns.
Well, that was a couple years earlier. I didn't know they were going to come back and try to kill me. But if you look it up, so on shooting number 11, it was on Sudley Road in Manassas. So I was there at a gas station, and the way they were brilliant because they picked spots that were close to the highway. So they'd shoot, jump back on the highway and drive off. So I was at the BP gas station right next to Route 66 because I was leaving school. I was going to college at night, and they had shot while I was there at that gas station. I don't know where they were, but they shot the man over at the Sunoco station. And I didn't really hear any shots or anything. So I don't know if it was muffled from being inside the trunk of the car. What they would do, they were a genius.
They put a hole in the car, right?
Yeah, they put a little hole in the
You
back
said
of the car.
92 or something.
And then
02.
they would lay, yeah, it was 1992. They would lay
02.
down in the
Are you
trunk.
talking about
It
Malvo
was
and
2002.
Yeah, this was John Muhammad,
yeah, that wasn't
and
92.
Lee Boyd
It was
Malvo. Oh,
2002.
2002. I'm sorry, 2002.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2002. So they would lay down in the back of the car and had this little hole. They'd shoot out the little hole with a Bushmaster rifle. So I don't know where they were. They were probably somewhere like near the on-ramp to 66. But they shot the guy while I was there. And I was standing outside my Dodge Dakota pickup, letting the gas pump.
Nice.
They could have shot me. I don't know why they chose the guy further away from the highway at the
Jesus Christ.
Sunoco. But they shot him, and I kind of heard like a faint, I don't know if I wouldn't say it was a full-on scream, but kind of a shout or something. And then I didn't know what happens. I got in my truck, drove home, then later found out that the killing had happened right there. I was just coming out of school.
Wow.
Now,
I was down the road from
that's-
the Home Depot one.
That's fucked up.
yeah, they shot somebody in the covered garage at the Home Depot. And funny enough, there's somebody inside the Home Depot lied. They went to the cops and they made up some story about who they saw, ended up arresting that guy for obstructing justice because he was giving them lies about the story. So they didn't know who they were. Do you guys remember Chief Moose
Oh yeah.
from the Montgomery County Police? So he was in charge of the investigation, and they did another one. This was another one where they came up with a profile. Guess what the profile for the killer was?
What?
White male in his 30s to 40s.
Of
you know,
one person.
single. Yes, they thought it was acting on his own. It's just the standard rundown of all the serial killers that they ever came up with. So on one of the killings, the one at the Bowie, right outside the Bowie Middle School, Jack, they left a tarot card.
No.
Right? Guess what card it was?
Death.
The death card, of course. And they wrote on it, a little, this was their calling card. And I think I don't know if this was probably the only one that they did. So they weren't hanging around most of the time to leave
No.
clues. But they wrote on there, he said, "Call me God," on the front. And then his name turned out to be John Muhammad, you know,
Oh yeah.
could be what he was trying to say.
Holy shit.
And on the back, he would say, "For the police only," something like that. "Don't show this to the media."
Right.
Ended up catching them at a rest stop up near Hagerstown, I think. But
Frederick. Yeah.
yeah,
That's what, Tom, talk about a close call, man. Jesus.
I know.
Yeah, man. Good.
Well,
You,
Hey, I
you would
was in the
have
same
one less friend of Zeus.
yeah, I'm glad we have you.
I tell you, there's two things. I was living up in Baltimore at the time, so I wasn't like in the thick of it, but I had friends here, and now I'm living. I'm in the zone where they were now, but the one of the gas stations where they shot the lady who was vacuuming out her minivan. I go to that gas station. That's where I get gas all the time, and I look at that. There's two vacuums over there, and it's like you'd think there'd be like a plaque or something. There's like nothing. It's just like if you didn't know, like you wouldn't know. But I remember when that first started going on, my business partner, his wife was working in Rockville, and when they talked about the white box man or whatever, I was like, they're not finding any shells. Oh yeah, there's the card.
There it is.
They're not finding any shells. And I was like, they're shooting. And then when they started talking about the van, I'm like, they're in a vehicle shooting out of a vehicle. And that way, when the cartridges are going, there's no evidence left. I mean, and of course they're in the trunk of a blue Caprice, but
yeah, weren't they? They were in the back bed of the truck with a little hole drilled.
No, not
it was a Chevy Caprice.
It was a sedan.
A late model Chevy Caprice.
But yeah,
And
they were laying down from the
Right.
inside, so they never actually got out of the car.
Right, yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see it, but before I think it was only there for like a year, but it was you could go see it. It was at the museum in DC. It was on display, the actual Caprice.
Oh,
like
wow.
You could go see it. They also had the Unabomber's cabin in the museum.
That dude's fascinating.
Wait, I'm so glad when you were talking about like the bad profile picture, I thought about the mother of all of them, which was the Unabomber.
Yeah. Yes.
No, that
could have been anybody. It could
it?
have been anybody.
Oh,
That-
okay, I
that
get
thing-
that. Yeah.
that
It was like
thing-
a hoodie with like dark glasses.
Yeah, that thing looked like me any given Sunday.
You have something you need to tell us, Jack?
No.
All right, who's next? That's all I got.
I guess it's Jack.
Oh shit. I mean, we talked about a few of them already, obviously, but I would say, I mean, to me, the mother of all nightmare horror stories is on Zeus's background picture right there, over his right shoulder, and that's got to be Gacy.
Mm.
It's got to be Gacy. I mean,
clown.
the guy did it all. The guy, he buried them under the crawl space of his house.
How did a guy like that? He was heavy set. How the hell did he drag that body? That's a lot of work.
Well, he was younger, man. He did all this in the 70s. His body count is about 30 young men, some children. The fucker lived with his mother at one point. He was like a precinct captain with the local government. He dressed like a clown and went to kids' hospitals and shit. Like
He was a JC.
Yeah, the JC.
He was a JC. That's right. And he sold like shoes. He was a shoe salesman.
Was he? I thought he was in construction, right?
No, when he first started killing, he worked for some shoe selling company or something.
He was Ed Bundy.
Yeah, he was Ed Bundy. Yeah.
Not Ted Bundy, but Ed Bundy.
No, Ted's my other one. I thought one.
No, Al Bundy.
Yeah. But,
Oh,
yeah.
Al Bundy.
It's
Ed
like,
O'Neill.
it was like Ed Bundy. Was that
Ed
his
O'Neill.
name?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. There's Pogo the Clown.
How did they not know that was a madman?
I don't know.
Frightening looking.
Do you remember how he killed most of the kids, Jack? So he would trick them with the handcuffs.
Oh, yeah.
He would
the
say, "Oh, I
handcuff
got
trick.
these magic handcuffs." He'd put them on, and then he'd escape, and then he'd say, "You try it." And the kids would put it on, like a 17-year-old, boy, and they wouldn't be able to get out of it. And then he'd strangle them and kill them.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was a lot of there was a lot of like sodomy and sexual gratification
Yeah.
involved with these guys. He would like, lure them in to get them drunk.
I got a cool picture to show you
A
guys.
couple of them were underage. A couple of them were like 14-year-old
Yeah, a
kids.
bunch of them. I thought a bunch of them were.
Yeah,
You got to
no,
wonder, like, and he was married too. Where was his wife? How could she not know?
no, he was married a couple of times.
Yeah.
He was another
Does
one where
anybody know who this lady is that he's standing next to?
Who was that?
Rosalind Carter.
Oh,
my.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because he
First
was
lady.
He was a Democrat.
yeah,
I-
those Democrats.
Yeah, always, dude.
But he was another one where they complained about the smell, and he would just tell them, "Oh, it's just the ground. It's just the clay underneath the crawl space." So he would put down lime. He said, "I'm putting this lime to get
Yeah.
rid of that smell because of the clay." So he would.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was in construction, people kind of believed him.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he built like restaurants. He had a lot of weird connections to all over the place. He was vicious. From what I remember reading, like
Oh yeah, no, he tortured these people
Yeah.
before he killed them. He
And
raped-
then when he went to jail, now he went to jail for something. And guess where he
murder.
was in the jail?
Oh, he did go for
He went to jail for something. I don't know if it was for
child
murder.
abuse or something, pedophile
Yeah.
or something.
it was sexual
And they
abuse
made
of a
him
minor.
they made him the cook. He was the head
Right.
cook in the jail.
And they interviewed him on TV.
Yes, they did.
when
And he
was
talked
getting-
about
did you
how
see that?
to use spices and
Right.
herbs, to make
There's
the
a-
food better.
He was like the happy chef.
Yeah,
There's
the
a-
happy chef clown.
There's a book I read called The Last Victim. Really good book. It was written by this kid. He was like 19 years old. He was a psychology. He was like what do you call it? A prodigy. He wrote to, I want to say it was like Ramirez,
Oh, Gacy.
Gacy, and Dahmer, and he would write them letters in prison, and he would act like he was the MO of who they would have liked, and he actually got to get into a cell with Gacy,
Yeah.
and talk to him. You read the book?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah.
I've got one on Gacy, but it's called Killer Clown. But I know the guy you're talking about. They made
Yeah.
a movie. They made a movie out of that.
Yeah, I got a funny story about this though. So he gets into the
So,
cell, and he's interviewing Gacy, and the guard leaves.
Huh?
And apparently Gacy was like standing behind him at this point, and he had his hands on his shoulders, and he said he could feel his muscles tensing behind him. Fucking terrifying.
wow.
Here's the funny story though. So I liked this book. It was a great book, really good book. So I sent an email to the guy, the author,
Oh no.
and and he sends me this email back, and all I can say is he was profiling me. He's like, "So what do you do? Have you finished school? Like just all these bizarre
Are you a good boy?
Do you
Yeah.
like
Have you
small
killed any
animals?
You
cats
put the
lately?
lotion on the skin?" Yeah, I was a bit bothered by that. I never wrote him back because I didn't want to get into that. I didn't want
Joey, do you like gladiator movies?
Mikey, have you ever seen a grown man naked?
Yeah, you ever seen a grown man naked?
All right, so I got a good one. Are we good with Gacy or?
Yeah, well, I thought it was interesting too because he had the handcuff trick, like you guys were talking about. He also had something called the rope trick. He had two different clown personalities. He had Pogo, the happy clown, and
Oh,
he
geez.
could also be Patches, the sad clown. And I didn't know what this was, but they said one of the instruments, like the weapons that he used to bind and kill people and sodomize them, is called a garrote or
A garrote, yeah.
a
Was
garrote.
it the
That's
thing?
just-
That's
you
like a
turn-
rope with
That's
beads,
where they got
right?
the two sticks, and they'll put it over and go like that.
It looks like a stock, like out of fucking medieval times or something that you put in a town square.
That's not a garrote. A garrote actually is usually they remember the old piano wire thing they do, where they had it.
Yeah,
That's a garage.
Oh, that's a garage.
Yeah.
Okay. I never heard of that. I never heard of that word before. I was just like, what the fuck is, and they said they had a picture of it. It looked like a torture chair.
Wow.
Huh. I'm not familiar with that.
So again, Zeus, who you got?
So I got this guy. I don't know if any of you have heard of this guy. This guy was he was weird. Israel Keys. Are you familiar with him?
No.
So he was this guy in like the upper Midwest, and he was when, to answer Mikey Maryland's question earlier about organized versus disorganized, this guy was the epitome of organized. He would I don't know how many people he killed. He only did it from like 2011 to 2012.
Oh, a newbie.
Somewhat, yeah. I actually, hold on, let's see. Yeah, he let's see, number of victims was 3 to 8. They can't, he kept saying he killed this one and then that one, and then they find out he was lying. But cool thing about him was he would bury like kits in different states with cash and all this other stuff so that he could
Travel.
do a kill wherever. So I think he killed in like Utah, and he killed in Washington State. Washington State, man, next to Florida, that's got to be the most serial killers in any state. But yeah, so he'd have these kits with like duct tape and duct tape rope and a bag of lime. His modus operandi was how do I put it? So yeah, like I said, well, his MO was just people that were isolated. So he would always he would kill people out in the middle of nowhere and far from home. He would travel out of state to do it. He had a real urge to kill, but he would go well out of his way. Oh, what's this? Yeah, handsome devil, right?
Let me kill him. I'd love to kill him.
Yeah, he actually,
one picture. Oh, here we go.
He killed himself in jail to avoid the death sentence, I guess. While being held in jail on suspicion of murder, he committed suicide, self-inflicted wrist cuts, and strangulation. So yeah, there was another guy that did that not too long ago. The Craigslist killer did that too. He was a doctor.
Oh, the guy in Rhode Island?
No, he was in, I want to say he was in Pennsylvania. There are 2 Craigslist killers.
Okay.
One was a doctor, and yeah, the way he killed himself was because he was a doctor, he like hit all the right veins.
Yeah.
And then he put a bag over his head and tied something around it. He tied something around his neck so that he would fall forward. He made sure he was gonna die. But yeah, Israel Keys, the one of the cool things about him is there's a lot of you can listen to a lot of audio, and there's a lot of video on his interrogation, and he manhandled the police. He had them doing whatever he wanted. He was probably the smartest one that I know of, except for maybe Ed Kemper.
One quick question. So are there any of these guys, and they all tend to be guys, I'm sure there's some women, but they all tend to be guys.
Oh yeah.
Are there any that did it as a game? Like, I want to be the best serial killer. Like, and that was their motive?
Oh, well, yeah. Israel Keys. Yeah. He was a big admirer of Bundy. Like
he was trying to be notorious.
Yeah. He was a dick.
Yeah, Bundy's my other guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a fascinating one. I should have had more information. Yeah, he was married. He was also he was kind of like a Gacy, because he was like, everybody in the neighborhood liked him. I think he had 2 kids. That's why I think he killed himself, because he didn't want his daughter to grow up and have this legacy. He wanted to distance as much as he could from it.
Very, very thoughtful of him.
Yeah, he's a real peach. And he was also in the army. Lots of people came out of the army. Dahmer was in the army.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, in Germany, I think. Who's next? Mikey Gray?
Mikey Gray.
Oh, I picked Richard Kuklinski, but
That's one.
well, all right. So another one would be ooh,
I mean, don't sweat it if you don't got one.
yeah, I'm sure I don't got one. Berkowitz. That's a pretty interesting one. Although I think Berkowitz had help. I think there were the
all right, well,
church
wait a minute.
process was
From the
behind a lot
devil.
of that. Yeah, devil worshippers were, and I don't, I think the police covered that up because when they started going to other suspects, every time they would go to a suspect, they were dead, and then they would go to a next suspect. So they were cutting their ties.
Well, wait a minute, though. Just give a little background about who Berkowitz is. You're talking about the son of Sam, correct?
Yeah, the son of Sam, serial killer, David Berkowitz, who was a postman. Wasn't he a mail carrier?
Didn't they call him like the 357 killer or something too? Like 45 Magnum. Well, I don't even know what it was.
It was Yonkers, right?
Was in New York? Yeah, and he would go up to a car with a couple who were making out.
Yeah.
And just went in point blank range, boom, boom, shot him, killed him.
Yeah.
And that caused a panic.
Yeah, but didn't he also put the Partridge Family cassette in the car or something like that?
Oh.
That I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, please tell me I think I love you.
Wasn't Sam his dog or something? Like he said his dog was
his neighbor's dog. The neighbor's dog who he said, "Oh, the dog told me to do it." And supposedly the neighbor, the father of the dog owner, his sons were into Satanism. Okay.
Wow.
And the Church of Process, who Robert Mapplethorpe was part of, and the rumor is that one of the killings was filmed by Robert Mapplethorpe in a van as a smut, smut
No
film.
way, really?
Yeah, that's what. And Berkowitz is, because these guys are still around. The Church of Process is still.
Berkowitz alive, or was he executed?
Yeah, no. I think he's still alive and in jail. Yeah.
He's alive.
He found God, so everything's cool now.
No, he was on TV for a while wearing like the brother brown robe, like a televangelist. He was on local access.
Yeah.
My neighbor's dog just asked me for stock tips, so I don't know anything about. I mean, sounds crazy to me.
Well, remember one of the victims. One of the victims.
Dogecoin. Doggy coin.
It's cheap. It's cheap now.
One of the victims who escaped said that they were taken to a park in Staten Island somewhere at night, and in an underground place, and there were all these people with masks, and it was like a satanic ritual.
Huh.
And
this was a victim of.
This was one of the victims, yeah. And this was on 2020. I remember watching this as a kid. That there was a satanic connection to Berkowitz.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna cry bullshit on that. Not to you, but because this is also right in the middle of the satanic panic when everything was connected with Satan. Are you familiar? Is anybody familiar with satanic panic?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can mansplain it too.
Well, you can. Yeah, mansplain. Well, you could look up the church, the Process Church, or the Church of the Process, and now they've moved to Utah. And guess what they do?
Thanks, Mom.
They care for animals. I kid you not. They've set up I can't remember the name of it, but
did you say they kill small animals?
They
care for animals.
They have like an animal shelter in Utah.
Carefully sacrifice them.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. My dog would just ask me what goes best with fish, white wine or red.
Right.
It's important. It's important distinction.
You need to know these things. You don't want to look like a creep.
All right.
Well,
Michael Maryland, you got another one?
Oh, so I got another random one. Sorry, like I said, I had to look, but this guy caught my eye. Yang Jinghai from the People's Republic of China, the most prolific Chinese serial killer since 1949, since the communist takeover. And this is pretty impressive. He only was active for 3 years, and being China, when they caught him, they executed him like 2 weeks later. There was no long trial. but 67 confirmed kills in 3 years,
Wow.
which for those watching at home works out to just under 2 a month.
Okay, so where's the cooling off period for that? I mean, that's
Yeah,
faster
right?
than the snipers. right?
Isn't that a
You know-
spree?
You know what a big thing in China is? People just lose it and they take a knife and they just start slashing people.
Well, here's what he said. Let me because they asked him what his motive was, and actually he's on Wikipedia here.
'Cause they don't have guns there.
He said he never formally provided a motive, but when asked, he was quoted as saying, quote, "When I killed people, I had a desire. This inspired me to kill more. I don't care whether they deserve to live or not. It's none of my concern. I have no desire to be part of society. Society is not my concern." So yeah, he was a little. He said that. He also said that he did it because of a bad breakup.
That'll do it.
Why didn't he just kill her?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He said it was his motive was revenge against society and as a result of a bad breakup.
There's yeah, that I don't know.
67 people. I mean,
That's
is
actually not the
astonishing.
biggest number though. The Golden State was like 60 or
But
80.
3 years. 3 years.
Yeah, that's true. But that still allows for a cool down period. Tom?
Did we lose Jack?
Oh, that's right, we did. Where'd he go?
Uh-oh.
Jack,
Jack.
a serial killer got him.
Oh wow.
Is this the guy here?
Is that him?
Yeah,
Look.
long duck dong.
And see that guy in the
No, no,
top right, the top right above him. That's Samuel Little. He's supposed to be one of the most prolific ever. Of
Oh, the top, this one. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy.
It's
I think
Yang Jinghai, YANGXINHAI. Active from 2000 to 2003. Actually, 99 to 2003.
It's only 35.
Executed in 2004 by firing squad.
They called him the Monster Killer and the
The
Monster,
Monster Killer.
Wow.
All right. Well, I got one. Speaking of Jack,
Yeah.
got to go with the granddaddy of them all, Jack the Ripper.
Oh yeah.
So what was Jack? 1888.
Unsolved.
And
So
and
unsolved.
what's the theory on him that he was actually the Queen of England's doctor, right?
That's one of those.
There's like
there's
1,000
many.
theories
Yeah.
on Jack the Ripper. That was one of them, that he was related to royalty, because people were trying to figure out, well, how's he getting away with it? Somebody's helping him cover up. And then the way he would like surgically
With a
take the
scalpel,
woman
yeah.
apart, people thought, well, he must be a doctor.
A butcher or
there's-
something.
People thought, yeah, maybe a butcher. There were some theories about being an upholsterer, all these different things. The connection. So this one has the connection to you and me, Zeus.
How's
Because-
that?
So lately, one of the latest theories coming up from DNA, not from ancestry.com, but just, I don't know where they got it from, but they took, one of the victims had a shawl, and they had kept this. They lost a lot of the evidence from the World War II Blitz, where a lot of the evidence just got destroyed, but some police stations still had some of the evidence.
Oh wow.
And so they had a shawl that belonged to one of the victims named Eddowes. I think it was Catherine Eddowes. But so they did a DNA test. They found, I think it was some of his semen or something, and they matched it up to a family for a guy named Aaron Kaminsky, Polish guy. So that's the connection with you and me. Is he's
Oh
Polish?
yeah, Polish royalty, I believe.
Oh,
No, he wasn't Polish royalty.
Wasn't he? He wasn't?
No, he was a
Is there
murderer.
Polish royalty?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
there was.
I can't think of any jokes right now, damn it.
But anyway, so it had his semen on it, and it had the blood. They matched the DNA to the blood of Eddowes, to one of their ancestors, living ancestors. So, and he was already one of their suspects on the list. So Aaron.
oh wow.
So most people kind of believe that that is the killer. There's still some debate. I mean, you could argue, okay, maybe he was one of her Johns and he gave her the shawl or he was there. It's so, but he was also one of the suspects already, even before they kind of matched the DNA. So it's to me, it's kind of, I think it's probably the guy.
How many people did he kill?
Well, 5 officially. There's the
Okay.
canonical 5, right? There's others that are suspected, but not really. And then there were some that came afterwards, but they weren't. And then there's some even that took place in the US that they thought were Jack.
I think they thought there were some copycats too.
Right. Well, right after these killings, it was so sensational. Like any murder anywhere, people thought, oh, Jack's here. He's come all the way to the US and he's killing people. So it was kind of, people were just going nuts for a long time after that.
What about the Jackie? Maybe you would know the Boston Strangler.
Yeah, no, he was on my list too as like a sort of a runner-up.
What a great name too, the Boston Strangler.
Yeah,
It was Rolling Stones song too, right?
no,
I didn't know that.
That's the Midnight Rambler.
And supposedly he said,
Almost,
I'll stop killing if everyone plays their radio.
Really?
Plays a certain music or song, yeah.
I know.
It was that song.
They made a good movie about him with Tony Curtis.
Yeah, I remember that movie. Yeah.
It's a good flick. It's like really, really ahead of its time, the way they got into the behavioral psychology of it.
You said with Tony Curtis?
Yeah, Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
He plays the Boston Strangler.
Get out.
Yeah, it's a fucked up movie, man. It's really.
I like Tony Curtis, man.
You may not like him in this.
I'm gonna look that up.
I liked him in Spartacus.
Well, Zeus had mentioned just the word, and I had to play on the word. You talked about copycat killers. There's a really good like 80s or 90s movie called Copycat with Sigourney Weaver.
What's it called?
Copycat.
Oh.
And it's about this guy, like Mike was asking before about, has any serial killer ever just wanted to be a good serial killer? And
I think I remember this movie. What's this?
It's Sigourney Weaver, Holly Hunter. What's the guy's name, Zeus? In the 90s, he was big. Everybody thought he was the new Frank Sinatra. He plays piano. He does his own.
Harry Connick Jr. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was. I remember that. I remember liking it. I can't remember the movie, but I do remember that it was really good.
Yeah,
he was the serial killer.
Harry Connick Jr. is like the serial killer who's in jail. He's like the Hannibal Lecter that sort of guides the young buck. It's definitely like one of those 80s, 90s gems.
That was a good one.
Like they were cranking out good killer thrillers.
Yeah.
After Silence of the Lambs took off, they were just, and then also Seven. Remember the movie Seven?
Oh my goodness, man, that's fantastic.
Yeah, when they
What's
made
in
those.
the box?
What's in the box?
There's so much. That's a whole episode. That's
I know it is.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of which,
David Fincher is one of those directors because he directed Fight Club. And awesome. He's one of those directors to watch because he's in the know on shit.
Yeah, no, Fincher is one of the best living directors we got.
And remember at the end of Fight Club, the scene where all the buildings are coming down? That's like a prelude to 9/11, with the Twin Towers.
Well, I guess they're blowing up all the banks.
Yeah, that was a
that was like, so I got to do a little aside because it's like a conversation I've had. We don't have to have it now.
No, I was gonna say, guys, like we've been on for an hour, so we could wrap up serial killers and just go freeform if you want.
Okay.
I want to go over one more.
Well, I've got
one more too. I've
got more of them too, but we could just kind of rattle through them like we did with the comedians because we've been on for a bit.
I got one from today.
Oh
yeah.
I told Zeus. I don't know much about this. I saw the article. I haven't been able to find the article again. Real quick, this guy in Ecuador. He lives in a house with no windows, and this family's son went missing, and he was last known to be in this particular neighborhood. So the sister and I think the dad went looking in this neighborhood in the middle of the night because that's like the last time he was seen.
Right.
And they got attacked and taken in. except when the one of them had a real bloody wound, and so like the next morning, people were able to follow like the blood trail to the front door of this guy's house. They found over 40 bodies buried in his backyard.
Woo!
This was like 2 months ago, but they just story came out today. And
Wow.
he would just go out and at night and just find somebody and hit him on the top of the head with a metal pipe and drag them back to his house and kill him.
Wow.
Caveman killer.
Like a trapdoor spider.
They still don't know where he is, right?
No, no, he's in custody. He got discovered like 2 months ago, but the story's just getting out. It's in Ecuador.
Was it Pedro Lopez?
I don't know. I just read it today. I read it this morning before I talked to you because I was like, wow.
That up.
That was an older guy, Zeus.
Yeah, I think that guy's like been around. This is a whole new thing. This is just coming out.
Ecuador.
Huh.
But they had like 40 graves in his backyard they found.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I want to say I did hear
But
something.
he just used a metal pipe, like bonk, and like dragged them back to. I mean, that's like so primitive.
That's all it takes. They got to figure out what he did with him after.
I don't know. I have to research that.
If somebody just has the will to kill another person and they have no governor, I mean, it's not that hard to kill somebody, you know.
Do tell, Mike.
No, I mean, I don't. But
Please
I mean,
elaborate.
I mean, if
Wait,
you
let me get mine.
think about it, you're driving, you could just run somebody right the fuck over, you know.
Yeah, that's true. It's the darkness.
If you don't care about jail, you don't care about, you know, you have no conscience. Just like boom, you know.
Killing one person is easy. Killing 67 people, not so easy.
They say it gets easier, Mike.
It does, Jack. It
Well,
does.
without getting caught.
Well, I mean, if you're a cook at a wedding, like let's say you got 200 guests, you could just poison the soup or poison some
But then you'd
food
be a
and
spree
like you just
killer.
knock out, you know.
That would be a
boom.
mass murder.
Spree killers are like down here. Serial killer, you
Oh,
gotta
aim high, dude. Aim
Yeah,
high.
man.
Hi.
Be a spree killer.
Poisoning is generally more of a woman serial killer kind of.
Oh, that's
All right.
nice.
Wait,
That's
what if
nice.
you
Why
did-
do you? Hey, why do you mansplain the way it's supposed to be done?
Yeah, pretty
Why
sexist
don't you
there.
just tell
Mansplain
me?
it to ya.
Tell me how I should do
because
it, dude.
It's because they're smaller and weaker.
What if you
Oh,
did a spree
Jesus.
killing, but you did it like once a year? So you did it in like a serial fashion?
Like
On
a
the same
festival.
date. On the same
Like a
date
fe-
every
like a
year.
holiday.
Friday the
holiday.
13th.
Like a holiday.
All right.
Wait, so the Friday the 13th killer, that's like a spree, but he does it like
What
every
a
Friday
hack.
the
What
13th.
a hack.
So no, that's a serial killer then, right?
That's a serial killer.
He serially kills people.
So I got this guy. How did you not know? Again, it's another one of them. Is anybody familiar with Andre Chikatilo?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
No.
This guy is a loony loon. Here, I'm going to
Wait.
show you a picture of him.
Wait, this was the
The guy who was on the
probation
dating game.
No, that's a great one too. That's a great.
Wow.
That's Chikatilo right
Who
there.
the hell's that?
Andre.
That's Andre Chikatilo. He was a
Yeah, the Rostov.
naughty boy.
Yeah.
He look at him. He looks like like the Russian Andy Warhol.
Or Andy Dick.
Yeah, he killed children, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a creepy one. He would when he was in court, he would like expose himself, start jerking off. Like they finally just it was funny because the judge was like calling him a piece of shit basically.
Right.
What's
And-
wrong with that?
Well, let me get to it. So, but it was he eventually said, "How can I let you judge me? You're saying all this stuff." And the defense also said it, and then even the prosecution was like, "Yeah, judge, I think you're a little out of line." So they actually got a new. Oh no, that's right. They didn't get a new judge. The judge said, "Fuck you," and he fired the prosecutor, or he kicked the
What,
prosecutor out.
what country was this in? I mean, was this in Russia?
It was in
Yeah,
Rostov,
Russia.
Germany.
Hmm.
Wait, you're talking about Chikatilo?
Yeah.
No, this was Russia, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, not Germany, Russia, Rostov, Russia.
Okay.
Maybe even the Ukraine. It might have been the Ukraine.
No, it was like near Moscow, I think.
Wait, it says he killed like over 50 people.
Yeah, he was one of the more prolific ones for a long time.
Wow.
Hold on.
There's a good episode. If you listen to the Dark Poutine
Look, they're all
podcast,
kids.
do a whole episode on him. It's really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, he was a creepy one. This is all his victims. Ugh,
Wow.
monster.
Yeah, that guy might take the cake.
Yeah,
I think, was this the guy, Zeus? He drove like a cab,
Wait, you see?
and that's how he got like a lot of his victims.
um,
He would like pick people up and to give them a ride, and then
yeah, I think he'd take him out into the woods. I think they usually
well,
found.
no, he was
bodies.
like a cab driver.
Yeah, there was a movie with Stephen Ray. Stephen Ray, the guy from
He is kind of creepy
Crying
looking.
Game.
Yeah.
He did a serial killer movie. And it was
In
not
that picture, he looks like Michael Keaton. Go back.
bad.
See?
Yeah.
That Michael Keaton a
He
little
looks
bit.
like he hasn't slept, the poor fella.
Birdman.
And he's got his Olympic
Olympics.
shirt on.
You got to
He's
represent.
a gold medal killer. Oh wait, what was that?
We don't want to show that again.
Go back. Oh, gosh, stop it.
Stop it.
Show what?
Don't you-
I got crime scenes. I can show crime scenes, but I don't think we want to see that.
No.
No, yeah, he was
Let's
just
not
always.
shoot the advertising.
I love that you have a Murderpedia site.
Oh, and no, yeah, this is a great site if you're looking up these guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, let me dial 911 real quick.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus.
But yeah, and so just a couple of mine that I'm surprised we didn't mention that nobody threw in a BTK.
Well, that's
We
what
haven't
I'm
had time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zeus, I've been trying to say that. The ones I wrote down, I had Gacy, Dahmer, Bundy. We didn't get into Bundy at all.
And he's boring, honestly.
Oh,
No.
please. No, Bundy killed a lot of women, dude. He was fucked up. He did it all over the country. I
It's
had
very intriguing.
I had the BTK killer, Jack the Ripper, Boston Strangler, Son of Sam, the Unabomber, and the DC gas stations guys. So we are of like minds, my friends.
Yeah. What about Zodiac? I guess they never determined if he.
No, they got that. He died. He had a heart attack like when they finally got around to him. You saw
Well,
that?
Zodiac?
Yeah. So
I thought they didn't. They don't know who it is.
No, they didn't get him. They're pretty sure that they had the right guy eventually, and then the guy had a heart attack before he could face trial.
But it wasn't like proven. There were like theories. It was another one of those theories.
Well, there was no trial because he died.
Yeah, but
Oh.
yeah. See, I never heard that they
Let me
got.
give you one. Have you
Well,
guys
he
ever
also
heard?
he
Oh.
also didn't kill a lot of people. So yeah.
He was kind of like Son of Sam because he would shoot them like couples,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but it wasn't too many. It was pretty random.
He did a lot of writing. Though.
Yeah. Puzzles and shit like that.
Have you guys heard of Howard Holmes? Do you know who that is?
Oh, H.H.
Who?
Holmes. Yeah.
H.H. Holmes, yeah,
Yeah, he was in Chicago. He did the
from the World's Fair. Real quick, the interesting thing about him, so he built this house
hotel.
where, it was a hotel, and he would
American
invite
Horror Story,
women up.
the
Yeah.
season with the
And
hotel.
the hotel was built so that the women would get trapped in their hotel room, and then he would kill them, and then he would
wow.
shoot them down to the basement to dispose of the body. So
Wow.
That
And-
was in New Orleans, right?
no, Chicago.
Yeah,
Oh,
the hotel still. I think it only got destroyed recently. I think it stayed around for a really long time. But yeah, he had mazes
fucked up.
and
Yeah, it was a crazy hotel.
he had rooms that were sealed so that he could pump gas into there.
Right. Yeah.
The way he made all his money was through like insurance scams. He was a crafty fella.
Yeah.
The
But
only other one I had on my list that we didn't cover, and then this was another oddball. I don't know, probably not a serial killer, but Charles Manson. You should
Oh,
probably
serial killer.
kind of toss it. Yeah, he's not serial killer, but
He only
kind of
killed one person.
well, he's in that vein. So he was
Oh.
somebody
See,
I wanted to talk about.
I've
Oh,
argued
sorry.
that one
He's-
though. He's
Good point.
more of a cult leader.
Yeah, he was.
I know. I'm not saying he's a serial killer, but I'm saying.
Yeah.
No,
No,
go ahead.
He's a notorious figure in America.
Notorious figure.
Yeah.
He's the notorious Big. Yeah.
Yes.
So here's an interesting question. I was just thinking the other day when Jack was positing this topic. What about all the serial killers out there that have never been caught that we don't know about? Because there are some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones
Like-
that were really good,
Like the smiley
really
face
good.
killer.
They never got caught.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
sorry?
heard about the smiley face one. That one's interesting.
Well, I don't know, Mike. It depends. There's got to be guys whose pathology is just to do it and get away with it, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no
There's-
like they're just
there's gotta be.
randomly.
But then you have the guys. You have the guys that they say they want to get caught. The guy that returns to the scene of the crime. The guy that wants the fame, the notoriety. He wants somebody like Zeus to write him letters. But I would think, like Kuklinski, the guy Michael Gray, Florida Mike brought up before, he did it for money and pleasure, and he had a family. I don't think he intended to do that HBO Confessionals amazing fucking TV series that he did, which is one of the most chilling things ever.
What was that called? Like the
Confessions of an Iceman.
Yeah.
But
There's two sets of it too.
but I would think, Mike, you're right. There's got to be guys out there that don't want to get caught,
there's gotta be.
and it's also got to be really hard nowadays to not get caught.
Well, yeah, cameras everywhere.
Well, your
Camera-
phone, man. I mean, everyone has a phone. It's like
Yeah. Cell phones, cameras, DNA evidence.
Well, but here's a theory. Maybe we're
Cameras
still
everywhere.
catching them. Maybe we're still catching them, but we're catching them before they get to their 3 because
Right.
it's so hard to get away with things. So
Right.
there's probably
Dude, they-
people that had the potential to do 60, 80 murders. They were smart. They all the the whole list, but they just never got to because they got
They get caught. Right.
I mean, not to go back to the Miami building collapse as an example, but like we live in a time right now that collapsed at what, like 1:30 in the morning. We have video of it collapsing because someone had their Ring camera on a balcony in another building or some other place. There's video of the whole thing coming down. It's
No.
astonishing.
Yeah, and then also you got to figure, if you're like this guy stalking some woman or stalking somebody, that person has a cell phone too.
Right.
Oh,
Like-
we're gonna get
Like everybody's got a load jack.
You
Yeah,
can't
everyone's got a
even
logo.
make a fucking prank call anymore.
but
No, I
if they're
know.
organized, they'll get a burner. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If they're organized,
But
they'll.
you can even there's cameras are everywhere, man. Listen, so I work in
You can't get on a bus without it being recorded, or a plane or a train. Like there's no interstate. You can't
people
drive.
have cameras in their home. Like if you're in construction or remodeling or whatever, I tell all my guys, I'm like, everyone has a camera in their home. Like if you're working in someone's home, you're being recorded. Period. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean,
Right.
everything records everything all the time. There's
Yeah,
nothing that happens that's not recorded. In
You know,
fact,
could you
amazing
imagine?
things happen that don't make the news because there's no video of it.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, that sucks.
If there's no video, they won't put it on the news.
They
Could you
won't even
imagine-
talk about it.
No.
Could you imagine being a kid today? Like, you all got, a lot of you got kids, Jackie's a kids, and you, like in high school or growing, and like you do something and some kid's there to catch it on video. And then the next thing you know, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. And it's not just something that happened and your laugh stock, just in your school or town. Now it's the world,
Right.
There were these
Instantly.
there were these two, to speak on the cell phone and getting caught and all that. There were these 2 or 3 Russian kids. I want to say they're Russian or Ukrainian kids that like they videotaped themselves like just torturing this guy forever. It's like a 15-minute video, and they're like poking him with they beating him down with a hammer, and then they're like poking him where they hit him with the hammer. They're
Wait,
sticking a
like-
screwdriver in there and all.
really? Where was this? I never saw
Horrific.
this.
Mike's like,
It was in Russia, and they videoed on their iPhone, like I said, and this was like they did this all the time, like
well,
at least three or four people.
do you guys remember a couple of years ago, it was like a black couple, and they did a FaceTime live where they took this mentally challenged kid they knew from the neighborhood or from school. He had a he had a MAGA hat on, like a Make America Great hat, and they tortured and beat him up, and they were lighting him on fire, and
Oh Jesus!
and they broadcast it.
They live streamed it on Facebook.
They
Yeah.
live streamed it, right?
I don't remember that. But
So
I remember that.
if we're ready to wrap up, I want to tell you my little story about work.
And I got let me tell one little anecdote before that.
All right, well, time out. We've been on for a while, but go ahead. If
this is good, I promise.
All right, so go ahead, Mike.
Because I'll never remember it, and we talked about 7. So this is just astonishing to me. Okay, so 7 and The Usual Suspects, both starring Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
They were released 5 weeks apart. So, excuse me, Usual Suspects came out in August of 95, and 7 came out in September. And I've always thought, like, this is after I saw 7. Like, I mean, this was one of my first thoughts when Spacey walks in to the police station with his hands up, and he's got the Band-Aids and all that stuff. And it's Kevin Spacey. I was like, if they released 7 before Usual Suspects, it would have destroyed Usual Suspects, because in Usual Suspects you see Verbal, and you're like, at the end they have the reveal, right? That he's the guy. But if you had seen 7 first, and then you saw Kevin Spacey, who was still at the time not an unknown actor, but certainly not
he was unknown.
He was not the
pedophile. You'd be suspicious of him. You'd be like, oh, okay, that guy may be involved in this. I'm just saying, whatever I don't know if there was collusion between the film companies where they're like, they have to be in this order. But that always struck me.
They're both really good movies.
They're so fantastic. But if you see them in reverse, you're going to suspect them. You're going to suspect them.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, that was it.
No, I didn't even realize they came out in that order.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, this is a good story. You know, being a psych nurse, I think anybody that's a psych nurse, well, maybe not, but you want to catch that one. You want to be the one that catches the real deal, the meaty psycho person passing through. And where better than on a psych unit? You know, the pool is pretty rich. Right. But so we got this guy that he came in not too long ago, and he's just way out of it. So I walk into his room, and I tell all my patients this joke just to kind of see where they're at, where their head's at, if they can keep track of things and all. And so I tell the joke. It's just a dumb, bad joke, but if they laugh, you know they're with it a little. And it's ham and cheese sandwich walks into a bar, goes up to the bartender, and asks for scotch on rye. And the bartender looks at the sandwich indignantly and says, "We don't fucking serve food here." Right? And I don't say the fucking part, but anyway, so a lot of times they'll laugh, but this guy, he's like flat affect, doesn't say a damn thing. He's like, he just, that's all I get from him. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to come up with something better. He goes, you want to hear a really fucked up joke? Like,
let me put on my seatbelt. Hold on.
He goes, what happens when you put a baby in the microwave? I'm like, I don't know what. And he goes, I don't know. I was masturbating.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I was like, I gotta go.
Wow, dude. So do you write that on the report?
I didn't want to be an alarmist. He's probably not, but man, if I see him on the news, I wouldn't be surprised either. But I better not get into features or anything like that.
Yeah, no.
He's not intimidating.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, he's right behind you in the supermarket. Yeah, so yeah, that That was a bit alarming. He's what falls under antisocial personality disorder. That's where you get all your like psychopaths, sociopaths. Yeah, he's a doozy. He's
Wow, man.
real doozy. Uh, yeah, I got out of the room. I was
But
like,
wait,
this
is
doesn't
he a
feel-
known serial killer? Or
What?
is,
Well,
is he-
that's the thing.
or you just suspect that he is?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. When he was in the height of his psychosis, he said he was.
He claimed that he was,
Yeah,
but he's crazy.
yeah, but most serial killers, for what it's worth, aren't sane. So he would
A lot
be.
of them
he would
are,
fall
actually.
into the group. No, they're not sane. No killing people.
Well, they don't follow
They don't-
our
They're not
guidelines.
categorized as insane normally. Normally, they face trial. They go to trial. They go to jail. They get executed.
Well, you gotta
Like-
be
Again-
not competent to stand trial.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Insane. It's a whole thing.
No, it's
Most of them are
not-
not insane.
I'm
Yeah,
not a
no,
psychiatrist.
most of them are not deemed insane. You're correct.
I'm not a psychiatrist, but I do have a psychology degree. And one thing I learned is people behave a certain way because it gets them what they want. And it
Yeah.
could be antisocial, it could be dysfunctional, it could be self-destructive or whatever. But people get into ruts of behavior because for whatever reason, good or bad, it gets them what they want. And what they want may not be good for them,
Right.
but
So
it gets them what they want.
He could have just been fucking with you, Zeus.
what's that?
He could have just been fucking with you.
This guy, he's not organized like that.
So a horse
Here's
walks
um,
into a bar. Okay.
Here's a
good
couple
luck with
key
them.
traits that they say serial killers have, and we can judge from this. They have a disregard for laws or social mores, a disregard for the rights of others, a failure to feel remorse or guilt, which that right there says to me that they're insane.
That seems to be the big one, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
and that does not tell me that they're sane. Now, of sound mind to go to court, that's a different thing. But they're also not trying to give these guys a chance to live, Tom. Oh, and the last one is a tendency to display violent behavior. That again does not strike me as sane.
Well,
It
that's
doesn't-
you.
what?
That's you, but that's not the legal definition of what Tom's talking
Well, what did you say? Because for me, the legal definition I always thought was,
You got to have no concept of reality.
yeah. I don't know.
or disregard for reality.
Yeah, I
No,
really,
you literally have to think that the Pop-Tart is a hamster. Like, you
I
gotta
mean,
have
if they
no-
know, if they know what they're doing is wrong deep inside and they're trying to cover it, if you're covering up your crimes, I mean,
Insane.
they're not.
yeah, but you
insane.
know you're speeding. It doesn't make you a criminal.
If you bury the body in your basement, you're doing that for a reason.
No, Zeus, you made your own point.
Hmm?
If you're speeding, it doesn't make you insane.
No, I said if you're speeding, it doesn't make you a criminal.
Well, that's just it. There's two different things. You know, if you know it's wrong and you know you're breaking the law, you're committing a crime
But it still doesn't make you a criminal.
because you haven't gotten busted for it. yet.
No, if you
Look.
speed all the time and you get pulled over, it still doesn't make you a criminal.
If you're speeding and you think that you're eating marshmallows, then you're insane.
Right.
But wouldn't one of the things that all these people have in common is a complete lack of empathy?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, that's not
And that is-
fine.
And that's a developmental stage, right? In human development in the brain that
Some
occurs like 5 to 7 years old.
You also
some
see
people-
a lot of
some
them have
people don't-
hypothalamic damage.
Mike, some people don't have it.
Right, but what I'm saying is it's right because something goes wrong. But even in people who are healthy, it really doesn't appear until you're in that 5 to 7,
Wait a minute.
8-year-old range.
I think even if you look at kids prior to 5 to 7, some people just don't have it. You have sociopaths that are born that way.
Yeah, people are born that way. Sociopaths and psychopaths are born
But I'm
that
saying,
way.
even
Their
mentally
brain
healthy
isn't
children
wired.
at 5 don't have empathy.
No,
But
they
see,
do.
so here's the thing. Here's a
Not
couple
really.
things from
Not
my,
really, man.
from
No,
my
they don't.
um,
It develops. It's
a
not.
lot
It's
of
a
these
higher
guys-
brain function.
a lot of these guys have had head, had a good blow to the head.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I mean, a substantial enough amount of them that it
A lot of child abuse.
that is a contributing factor. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, we call them TBIs, traumatic brain injuries. Patients that come in with that, they just will go off. Some of the nicest people you'll ever meet, they'll walk up to you and punch you right in the face, and then just go back to whatever. Sometimes it's exhibited as rage, where they just go off on people. But yeah, so that's a big one. And then there's other things like you have a stroke. It's essentially the same thing. It's a traumatic brain injury. That can cause it too, or TIAs, which is traveling ischemic accidents, I think they call it, something like that. But that's like mini strokes. So there's lots of theories about that as well. They don't cut open everybody's head and try and figure out why they did it. They usually are just, they don't want to honor them. They want to just put them in the ground and put it behind
They're
them.
not all men. They're
No.
women.
And a lot of it is, they can be malnourished. There's a lot of them where they're malnourished as kids, beaten. I mean, if you're taught that this is how the world is, that's how you're going to end up.
Here's a question with whatever this dysfunction is, where most serial killers are men. How does that manifest? How does this manifest for women? Is it like
Poisoning
stuff? Is it? I mean, I'm not talking about being a serial killer, but I'm talking about this like antisocial, anti-empathy, like destructive social
from
behavior.
abuse, like the movie Monster. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I mean,
like a prostitute, she would kill her Johns.
Yeah, but
So
don't
this sort of
but
hatred.
maybe it doesn't rise to killing. Maybe it's, again, testosterone's a
don't
hell
they
of a
take
drug,
it
right?
out, Mike? Don't they take it out on like the loved ones more than anybody, like their children?
That's what I'm saying, like Munchausen by proxy, things like this, like stuff that may not result in death, but is diabolical in some way.
Well, and don't get all woke on me, but a lot of them are poisoners. A lot of them are poisoners.
No, I got you. But I'm saying
nurses. Wow.
What if this antisocial behavior or this diabolical behavior is a level below murder, right? Because they're not as aggressive.
Hey guys, I'm falling asleep. I'm gonna bail, but I had a great time.
You're in a different time zone. Okay, so it's 11:29 Eastern time, which means it's what, 10:42 in Florida?
No, it's 11:30.
Oh, okay.
I've had a long day,
Okay.
Yeah,
good having you on.
Boys, I think we've all been on for a while now. It's 11:30.
This is a good one, man. This was a fun one to do.
It was.
I fell asleep like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, me too.
I took a nap right before the show.
All right, guys. I'll catch you next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Cool, man. See you later.
I think it's been going for a while here, Zeus. I think it might be time for us to wrap things up. I don't know if you wanted to just hit stop record or if you want to
just say kill it.
Kill it.
Kill it.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute before you kill it.
What?
Jeff Bezos in space.
Ray Wallace, baby.
Pigs in space.
Is anybody hoping that his rocket would blow up?
No, look up Mary Wallace, dude.
Oh, wait, he's in space? What are you talking about?
Look up the 82-year-old woman that went up with him today. That is a fantastic story. That woman is amazing.
All right. Let's sign
Oh,
off.
he went to space. Okay.
Sign off.
Okay.
No,
So, hey.